Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be unboxing some Book Outlet orders. A few days before the end of the year, I ended up browsing Book Outlet because I kept getting emails about their Boxing Day sale, and I made a purchase and I was like, awesome, cool, I was really excited about the books. And then for some reason I kept browsing and I came across one that I really had been wanting for a really long time, and then I found some more that I had been really wanting, and so I made another purchase. And so I have two Book Outlet orders to unbox today. And both of them are in pretty sizable packages. I'm a little worried that there's a, kind of hole in this one, but yeah, the packages are both kind of large. So we're gonna start with the small one and work our way to the big one. So I think that given that my second order was slightly smaller than my first order, this should be the second order. However, the second order also has at least one book that's kind of large, so I'm not totally sure. We'll see when I open it. Oh, come on. At 21, you'd think I should be able to work a pair of scissors, but apparently not. Nope. Come on. So close. This is just a mess. Okay, I think I have it open enough. So since the box is kind of big, I went ahead and set it down, but I'm just gonna go from whatever's at the top to whatever's at the bottom. And I did notice that this is definitely the second order that I placed, so there, I think, should be 4 books in here. So the first book in here is Wolf in White Van by John Darnielle. From what I understand, the main character in this book runs a mail-in role-playing game, and it sounds really interesting, and I've heard a lot of really great things about it. So when I saw this on Book Outlet, I was really excited and wanted to pick it up because I have been wanting to buy it and considering buying it for quite a while. Now the second book in here is actually the reason that I ended up making this purchase, and that is S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. This was on Book Outlet for like $12, and normally it's like 30 something, so I saw this and immediately knew that I needed to buy it. So essentially what this book is the book in here is labeled Ship of Theseus, and essentially there are 2 different stories. The Ship of Theseus is its own novel, and within this story, 2 people find the Ship of Theseus at, I think, a coffee shop, and they start making notes in it, and they start communicating with each other through this book. So it's not only their story, but it's also the actual story of the Ship of Theseus. I'm just really intrigued by very intricate stories like this, and I've been wanting to pick it up and really wanting to read it for quite a while. So like I said, when I saw this for super cheap, I had to pick it up. So this next one may seem slightly redundant, but I will explain, and that is The Reality Bug by DJ MacHale, which is book 4 in the Pendragon series. Now, if you are paying attention or have been paying attention to my channel, you'll notice that this book is actually up here. It's right there. That is where it is. And you're like, Kristen, you already have a hardcover copy of this. Why did you get another one? But the hardcover copy that I have, I purchased for like 75 cents, and it was kind of really damaged, and the book jacket is ripped, and I saw this on Book Outlet for pretty cheap, and it's one of my favorite books in the series, and so I wanted to have a nice, shiny, clean copy, so I decided to go for it. And finally, the last book in this box is Lock-In by John Scalzi. This is another one that I've had my eye on for a while. This is basically a sci-fi thriller novel from what it sounds like, and in this world people like get this disease where they are locked into their bodies where they're fully awake but they can't do anything. And other than that, I don't know a ton about this book, but I've heard a lot of great things about John Scalzi as an author, and it seemed like a really intriguing concept, so I decided to pick it up. And now moving on to box number 2. Come on. Yeah. Once again, I'm going to set this down because this one is even bigger than the last one. So the first book that I saw on top was The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, also known as J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in her Cormoran Strike series, which is a mystery thriller series following Cormoran Strike, who I believe is a detective. For a while, I held off on getting this one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it, but I really do like murder mysteries, and I obviously love J.K. Rowling, so I figured I would pick it up and give it a chance. Plus, the second book in the series really intrigues me, so I have to read this one before I can read that one. The next one in here is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie, which is the 4th book in her Poirot series. I've read about 10 or 11 books in her Poirot series to date, and I really enjoy them. They're not my absolute favorite books of all time, but they're all pretty solid and I enjoy them, and I've heard that this one is the best in the series, and so I have been wanting to pick it up for a while, and when I saw it on Book Outlet, I couldn't pass it up because these editions are like $12 in the United States, and that's just ridiculous. So as a follow-up to one of the earlier books, I now have The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith, also known as J.K. Rowling. Like I said when I was talking about The Cuckoo's Calling, The Silkworm is the one that really intrigued me, and since it is the second book in the series, and I have been told that I should probably read them in order even though they're like murder mysteries that are only somewhat connected, I decided that I wanted to pick both of them up, and I saw them both on Book Outlet, so I got both of them. Next up is Visitors by Orson Scott Card, which is book 3 in the Pathfinders either series or trilogy. I am not entirely sure. Quite simply, I have the first 2 books in the trilogy, and I got them both off of Book Outlet, and I saw this one on there, and so I decided to go ahead and get it as well. If it is a trilogy, I can just marathon it, and if it's a series, then I at least have all the books that are out so far. The next one in here is Trial by Fire by Josephine Angelini. This is the first book in its series. I'm not sure if it's just called the Trial by Fire series, but essentially this is a fantasy with like alternate worlds, and alternate worlds are some of my favorite things to read about, and I've heard so far pretty good things about it. I remember it getting a lot of buzz when it was first released, so I am really intrigued to pick it up, and when I saw it on Book Outlet for cheap, I couldn't pass it up. This is becoming kind of a precarious stack, so I might need to rearrange. The next one in here is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have never read The Hobbit, nor have I ever even owned a copy, I don't think. So when I saw this really pretty edition on Book Outlet, I decided to go ahead and go for it because it's one that I've been meaning to get to for quite a while. So hopefully now that I have it, it'll push me to actually read it. The next one in here is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I've just heard a lot of really wonderful things about this one. From what I understand, it's post-apocalyptic and it has a lot of interweaving storylines that kind of come together at the end. And I love that in books, and I am really intrigued to jump into this one. And finally, the last book that I got was Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, which is the 3rd book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I do already have the first 2 books, and I actually started the first one and I enjoyed what I read of it so far. And so when I saw this on Book Outlet, I've actually been looking for it on Book Outlet for quite a while, but when I saw it, I went ahead and I bought it because I was like, I have to have this because I've been looking for a cheap copy of this for forever. So these are the 12 books that I purchased at the end of 2015. Normally, I have been trying to stay away from Book Outlet lately just because I think that I tend to buy a lot of books that I don't actually intend to get to ever, but they're just like interesting. But I think that this time I got a lot of books that I have actually been intending to get to for quite a while and that I've been really excited about, and they just happen to all be on Book Outlet at the same time. And of course, I might say something completely different in a few months' time, but as of right now, I'm really happy with these books. However, since I did buy a ton of them, I'm probably going to be going on not a full book buying ban, but some sort of book buying restriction in the near future, because one of my goals for 2016 is to reduce the size of my TBR, so I will probably be reducing my book buying in some form or fashion, but I am still happy with all of the books that I got in this haul. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the books that I got today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Which one should I get to first? As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!